Hardware tech, we don't have to talk about the freaking ISPs, Wendell. I am so happy about not having to talk about those stupid ISPs.
They are doing some incredibly dumb things that the world needs to know.
Speaking of things the world needs to know about, there's an intentional backdoor in many consumer routers out there from Cisco, Linksys, Netgear. So apparently this backdoor that's in these routers was not like a mistake or not a security hole. It was there on purpose. And what's interesting is when they were told about it, you know, like the different companies, they're like, hey, can you guys fix this? It's a problem in your firmware. So what they did was they basically hid the damn thing so that you couldn't see it and then said, okay, it's fixed. But it was still there. They didn't actually get rid of it.
Yeah, they made it so that you basically had to port knock to get it open. I think they also may have made it so that it's only accessible from the LAN side and not the WAN side, but we don't know for sure about that. We know the proof of concept is on the LAN side, but they may have just made it more complex to get it to actually turn on the WAN side. This appears to be some sort of management feature, but I would encourage the audience to go look at our video that we did on how to build your own router and be done with this nonsense.
Yeah, build your own router or use a custom firmware like Tomato, OpenDRT, DDWRT, or something like that. Just use a custom firmware or build your own router. Please do that. Let's take a look at the Lytro camera. Now, do you remember the Lytro camera, Wendell, that came out a couple of years ago or maybe a year ago or something? It looked like it was a strange little white rectangular, what do you call a rectangular cube?
It was the camera that didn't need to bother to focus.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. And the way this works is that the Lytro camera just captures information on the light. It captures like the photons themselves and the direction that they're going. So it just captures the directions of the light rays, essentially. It's pretty much the same thing as ray tracing. But it's like ray tracing in the real world. It's capturing it as opposed to creating it.
Ray capturing.
Yeah, it's ray capturing,
ray.
Exactly. Now, they have finally released a camera that looks more like a traditional camera than their old one. It's called the Illum, or the Illum, I guess. There it is. Looks just like a regular camera, has a much larger sensor, and it can capture a lot more, like millions and millions of rays. I'll go down here and find the exact specifications of how much it can capture. You know what? I'll just say this. It can capture a lot more, but if you actually wanted to print one of these pictures out, it's the equivalent to about 5 megapixels. So you can maybe print like an 8x10, but even not at 300 dpi. So 8x10 is 5 megapixels, 8x10 about 300 dpi. You can't print anything large for like a wall size.
You can actually also move the camera, like move the perspective around a little bit.
Yeah, and here's the interesting thing, and I'll show you guys how this works. The reason that this technology is so interesting is that it just captures the raw data from the scene as far as the light goes. It does not actually capture a flat image right onto the sensor like traditionally. You know, your camera focuses and everything happens in the lens. You know, that's what controls the depth of field and what's in focus and what's blurry, essentially. This one, it doesn't care what's in focus or what's blurry. You fix that afterwards in software. So there's a little thing here where you can play around with it. Like you click here, that's in focus. This is a simulation of how the software works. You click on this guy, and then he goes into focus. And you do this all in post-production. So it really makes it so that anybody can pick up a camera and take pictures that will always be in focus, and then in post you can figure out exactly how much of it you want to be in focus. You know, if you want to extend the focal range so that everything is crystal clear, or if you just want this to be in focus. Now, some different applications out there, even Google's new photo app, have something that kind of simulates this, where you can, you know, if you have a photo that's like all in focus, you can blur certain parts of it. But this is totally different. Totally different. I am going to say right now that I think that this could be the future of all photography in the not near future, but in the next like 15, 20 years, because it's so much more flexible. Capturing the raw light data is way, way more flexible than just capturing things in a traditional sense. And also the lens elements can be smaller and lighter. You need fewer elements for a greater range of zoom. And that's something that can give you better quality, because if in photography, if you have a lens and there's like 15 different elements on the inside, that's going to degrade the quality. You want as few elements as you can get. So this one has fewer elements than like a standard Canon lens. I'm not sure if it talks about it in this article, maybe here. Nope, doesn't talk about it there. But yeah, it's got few elements than like the equivalent Canon lens, and it can do more. So it's interesting. I don't know. What do you think about this as far as the future goes?
I think that the filmmaking applications of this are going to blow everybody's mind. I think the demo lens that they had there, it looked like it had rather a lot of glass elements, but they were all a lot smaller. But the image quality on the demo images was unbelievable. They also have a cool little interactive widget where you can sort of interact with one of the cameras and change the depth of field and sort of change the angle the camera was at and some other things like that. And it was really unbelievable. You add that in with filmmaking, this is going to be an incredible experience.
Yeah, that's something they haven't really even talked about. And I think that's a huge application that probably could be the biggest application for this sort of technology. The file size is going to be huge, though. I mean, like really, really huge. But a 5 megapixel image, essentially that's plenty big enough for, what we need right now. Is a 5 megapixel 4K? It's getting close. I don't know the exact dimensions of 5 megapixels. I forget what it is, but I don't think it's quite 4K. But I may be wrong. You guys can correct me in the comments and yell at me later. All right, let's talk about. Remember that company out in California, the small startup that wanted to make internet that was 1,000 times faster than 4G, Artemis, I believe, and they're working on that thing called P-Cell. And P-Cell, let me go and get the picture here to refresh everybody's memories. P-Cell essentially rebroadcasts the internet around small areas, like like a city or something, and you have all these little routers they're pretty inexpensive. You put them on rooftops and that sort of thing, and then all of a sudden you're getting internet that's almost fiber speed. It's ridiculous. So Dish Network took a look at this and said, hey, this is pretty cool. So Dish Network has decided to partner up with these guys. And now this, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with this. There's some speculation here going on in the article. But this could be a pretty big deal because Dish Network, I mean, they've got the satellites floating around in outer space. They've, over the last several years, they've spent billions of dollars purchasing, different pieces of the spectrum. They've purchased some from companies that were going out of business. They've purchased some directly from the government. So they have some spectrum. And they've also convinced, I believe it was the FCC, to allow them to use that spectrum for ground-based stuff, like ground-based wireless, ground-based whatever. Because traditionally they've only been doing, satellite transmissions back to Earth. Now, couple that technology with this technology and we could be onto something, but I'm not sure what. And you guys can read this for speculation, but I don't want to just echo their speculations.
For this to work, we're gonna need highly directional radios that are really low power, and we're getting there. But I think we're 10 or 20 years off from getting it to where we need it to be. We need laser-like coherence on the radio signal in order to pack a ton of clients into a really small space.
Yep. Before we move on, I'm going to mention one thing about the Lytro. Just real quick, I found the image that I was looking for, like a similar Canon lens to the one they have. There's so many more elements here on this page. Tons of elements needed in the Canon lens, way fewer for the Lytro. Anyway, moving right along here, let's talk about the next Thunderbolt connection. So it's not going to be called Thunderbolt anymore. Thunderbolt 2 is already floating around right now, but the next one is going to be called... Where's the damn thing? Alpine Ridge, that's what it's been dubbed. I guess it really will be another implementation of Thunderbolt, but Alpine Ridge. This is going to be way faster, like twice as fast, and it's going to use less power, like quite a bit less power. And here's the cool thing about this. It's going to be compatible with PCI Express 3.0, USB 3, and several other standards. So it's going to be a pretty awesome connector. But it's going to be a different connector. That's the thing. It's not going to be backwards compatible with the same port.
I think we're going to get it in the same situation that we've got with Apple, where you got Thunderbolt ports that can do DisplayPort, or you've got DisplayPort ports that can't do Thunderbolt, or you've got Thunderbolt ports that do Thunderbolt but not DisplayPort, or not DisplayPort in target DisplayPort mode. So now we're going to have Thunderbolt ports that do USB 3 but not HDMI, or that do HDMI and USB 3 but not DisplayPort, but that would be silly. Or DisplayPort and HDMI but not USB 3. It's going to be a mess. I hope not.
God, I hope not.
But I sense that it'll probably be a mess.
The specs here, it's compatible with DisplayPort 1.2, and it's also compatible with HDMI 2.0. And it can, get this, it's got so much bandwidth that it can power 2 4K displays with one port. One port, you can daisy chain 2 4K displays. That might be at 30 hertz, but still.
This looks great, but Intel screwed the pooch on the Thunderbolt on the desktop platform until the Z87. We still don't have socket 2011 with Thunderbolt. Honestly, Intel, really, it's 2014. What is the matter with you?
I know, and 2011 is exactly where we need Thunderbolt. I mean, you can go out and buy, a PCI Express add-in card for Thunderbolt, but
I don't think you can. I don't think that's really true. I literally have right there, just on the edge of the screen. Oh, it's slightly off screen. Yeah, look at that. Z87 Thunderbolt 2. Yeah, no, it doesn't work on 2011.
It does not work on 2011?
Nope.
Jesus Christ.
That one doesn't. I don't know if there's another one that does, but that one doesn't.
Oh, God. Let's talk about something nicer. You know something, Wendell? When I was looking at that list, remember that a list came out as Google's preferred technology channels, and we were in the top 10, so that was really cool. But I was looking at the list after the fact, after we talked about it, and I noticed that, like, all of the top videos were all about cell phones. So we've decided that we're going to become a cell phone channel. So if you guys like hardware, go screw yourself. We're going to talk about nothing but cell phones. And the first one that we're going to talk about is OnePlus One, the OnePlus One cell phone from, actually, it's going to be running Cyanogen. So this is probably going to be my next phone. I'm still using a phone from like 1902.
Because we're crazy.
Yeah, my phone is broken. It's from 1902. I can't even. I have to use speakerphone because the regular microphone doesn't work. So whenever anybody calls me, like when I'm at CES or something, I was running around and like all the vendors are like, "Man, why don't you pick up your phone?" And I'm like, "Because I can't use speakerphone in a crowded room. It doesn't work out that well." And they're like, "What are you talking about? Why would you use speakerphone?" I was like, "Never mind. Just I hate you. That's why I didn't pick it up because I hate you." No, anyway, so
but check out the mod is the most popular Android open-ish, 99% open Android ROM, and somehow they've gotten it to where they've got their own phone. So it's like somebody came to them and said, "Hey, you guys are like if you look at it, they were one of the most popular Android phones on the planet because people were putting their ROM on everything." And so if you look at it in terms of ROM, CyanogenMod had a huge market share. And so somebody came to them and said, "What's your ideal phone? Let's build it." So they did, and it's the OnePlus One.
Now check this out. It comes in two different flavors. It comes in black and white. And I kind of like this. The white version is 16 gigs, has 16 gigabytes of internal memory, and the black version has 64 gigabytes of internal memory for only $50 more. The price point is $299 and $349. Now traditionally, $50 more would buy you like it would upgrade you from 16 to 32, not 16 to 64. But I like the way they've done this with the color scheme. A lot of times people that buy, this is my completely uneducated opinion, but a lot of times people that buy white devices are not power users. I feel like professionals tend to buy black devices that need 64 gigabytes. So yell and scream at me in the comments for having, for stating something that it's a fact that I've just decided that it's a fact because that's the way we do things in America. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's talk about the rest of the specifications. Qualcomm Snapdragon. It's the Snapdragon 801, 5.5 inch display. It's 1080p. The specs on this are quite ridiculous. 3 gigabytes of RAM and a 3100 milliamp hour battery and a 13 megapixel camera, and I believe there's a 5 megapixel camera facing you, and it also supports 4G LTE. So this thing is completely loaded. It's sleek. It's pretty small. Yeah. They're advertising amazing photos and all that sort of fancy schmancy stuff. Here's some photos. I want to see the nighttime photos here. I'm opening this up. It's not bad for a nighttime photo,
13 megapixel.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Look at these pictures of flowers here. I like flowers. They're neat. That's a pretty decent camera for a cell phone. I don't know. Someone was asking what phone to get, and I posted this on Twitter, and everybody chimed in, like, Barnacles and Timmy Tech TV and all those guys chimed in like, "Whoa, where the hell did you find this thing?" So I don't remember where the hell I found this. I think someone emailed me and said, "Hey, have you seen this yet?" So whoever emailed me this thing, thank you very much because I'm getting one now. And then I'll do a review and let everybody know how it is. And I think MKBHD talked about it, didn't he, Wendell?
Yes, he already has a video that already has like 20,000 likes, so yeah.
All he did was talk about it. We should have made one video just talking about it. I told you, cell phone videos. From now on, we are doing nothing but cell phones and headphones. And anything that ends in phone. Gramophone.
Maybe we can, these phones are coming out with these ridiculous displays, maybe we can get the raw display like we did with the iPad Retina display and just build a wall that's like 20 by 30, 1080p displays, and they can just be the new Wallow monitor. Maybe construct my own 4K display from tiny cell phone screens.
There could be something here to use as an alternative. Now, Japan Display has decided to completely one-up the Google Nexus and the Apple iPad. Those displays are like, 10 inches and around, 2048 by 1536 and 2560 by 1600. Japan Display is releasing a 10-inch tablet display that is going to be 3840 by 2160. That is Ultra HD, 438 pixels per inch.
Wow.
There it is in all
That's
of its
like
glory.
only 100 more pixels per inch than the eye can actually see.
Yeah, and well, it's an IPS display as well.
So what you're saying is I need to get one of these and like one of those sheets of plastic that magnifies everything and like come up with some contraption where that's mounted midway between my face and the screen so I can have a 4K display on the cheap, because that's something I would totally do.
You should get like some sort of a magnet just so you can see it. That's another gripe I have with 4K is unless you're using some kind of scaling technology, which I generally hate. I'd rather use it at the native. You have to put it pretty close to see some of the fonts and that sort of thing with some of the screens. If you're
there was a typewriter / word processor like that in the 80s that had a tiny CRT screen, and the popular accessory for it was this clip that would hold a plastic magnifier in front of it, and you see it sometimes in old movies.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about graphene for a minute. So apparently there's been a breakthrough in Ireland. Graphene for the masses could be a thing. So researchers in Dublin, they claim that they have made a breakthrough, and there's nothing really posted about what their breakthrough is. They say they're going to be publishing soon, and I forget which publication, but they're going to be publishing a paper really soon talking about this. But in Nature Materials publication, that's where they're going to be publishing. But essentially, it says that it is that they've made this stuff ready for the assembly line, and they can make graphene for the masses. That was one of the biggest hurdles right now because there wasn't really a way to create graphene on a large scale. So if this is legitimate, this could be a big deal. And if you're someone who does not know what graphene is, it's one atom thick. It's made out of carbon. It's like 97 point something percent see-through. And the different uses for this are almost endless, like almost endless.
So the magic ingredient here was a kitchen blender, just so you know.
You're joking me, right?
No, literally, the secret ingredient was a kitchen blender. It was like, I wonder what happens if we put all the ingredients in the kitchen. Oh, that works great. So the kitchen, it's not pure. They still got to purify it and do some other stuff. But literally, they make the graphene the best in a kitchen blender.
An expensive one, right? I mean, not like some cheap Walmart thing, right? Is it an expensive one, maybe?
Oh,
maybe?
But okay. I mean, even the most expensive kitchen blender is orders of magnitude less expensive than the crappiest of centrifuges.
That's pretty hilarious. Let's talk about new cool things that have been discovered. We're going to kind of transition over from hardware into something like science. Something like science.
No, it's pseudoscience. I mean, pretty soon it's just going to be bad. I mean, we're going to have the guy from the Creation Museum on here. It's going to be awesome.
You went there. Oh, God. Yeah, the Ken Ham Sandwich will be here next week to talk about the ham sandwich that someone ate in the Bible. Anyway, let me go back to talking about science here.
So the article, like this is the most inflammatory article headline ever.
They're talking about the 3D printed cast?
No. Habitable exoplanets are bad news for humanity.
Oh, yeah. I opened that up a second ago, and I was like, I don't think I want to talk about this. This is so silly.
Well,
because it's far-fetched, but it's fun.
It's a clickbait headline if ever there was one, and it's like, what? Who would be that moronic? And then
I clicked on it just to scold them because it was like, what the hell are you guys? Come on, this is Ars Technica. What the hell, guys? And they're basing this on it's the I forgot what the name of the thing is. There's like a funnel idea that says that we're all going to die. So
yeah, it's like just as soon as we contact an extraterrestrial civilization, it's like, oh look, you have resources gone. I'm pretty sure they would have an easier time mining the asteroid belt than our planet, though.
And there's probably more they can get out of it as well.
Or just get energy and resources directly from a star. I mean, mining a planet, that just seems silly. If you've mastered interstellar travel, you've probably figured out faster than light travel, and then at that point, does anything really matter?
I don't know. All right, let's talk about this cast they've been 3D printing. So now they're able to 3D print casts, and it's going to allow people to heal their bones, their broken bones, up to 40% faster. And here's what they're doing. They are using ultrasounds. Just, you know, they've known this for a long time. If you take ultrasound and you just continually hit the bone with ultrasound, it heals much faster. However, traditional casts are built in such a way that that's pretty much impossible. But now with a 3D printed cast, 3D printers are just so freaking cool. If they 3D print a cast specifically for you, they can put this little device here, right there in the cast, because there's more open space in the cast. You know, it's pretty much like they could just make a shell here, like as you can see the design here on this one. Your arm still has plenty of room to breathe, and there's also room to insert these, you know, little ultrasound modules or whatever. The things have to be touching your skin. That's the thing, and that's the reason it didn't work before. So this could be really cool. If you break a bone, look for a hospital with an ultrasound machine and a 3D printer, and you'll be good to go.
If it weren't for Star Trek, we would never have this technology.
Is this another technology that they came up with in Star Trek?
Well, no, not exactly, but it's the kind of thing where it's like, I need a device that, you know, the human body's too slow. Let's figure it out. And it's like, oh, tiny sound vibrations help get things where they need to be faster. All right, well, let's just, you know, make it happen.
Yep. All right, Google has a new initiative that's somewhat interesting. They're going to allow people to rent solar panels or lease solar panels. So, I don't know, this is kind of cool. They just, you know, recently did another major investment in solar. And the idea here is that they just want to get it out there to everybody. I think a lot of Google's ideas seem to be getting things out there so that people talk about it and then, you know, just adopt it faster. It's better for everybody if we all have, you know, good renewable energy. And they're saying that the solar panels that they're going to be leasing to people will be slightly cheaper than what their average, you know, monthly power bill is going to be. And the article really doesn't go into any of the details here. Is this going to be like enough power to power the entire home and everything in it for about the same price as your electric bill, or slightly cheaper than your electric bill? Or is it just going to be something that you add on and supplement? I don't know. I mean, it looks like quite a bit, but yeah.
You may be asking, why would Google do this? It doesn't really make any sense. Why would they have this huge capital expenditure and, you know, sort of reap that by leasing it back to customers and then letting them do whatever? There are not a lot of it, because the economy, you know, what it is, there are not a lot of non-unscrupulous ways of investing large amounts of cash. And because Google is so profitable, they have a lot of cash on hand. And this is actually a really clever way to invest their money. And so instead of like Goldman Sachs or something like that, some hideously evil organization, or HSBC, which are funding terrorists and coke fiends and things like that, this is a clever way to invest the money, because they've got a lot of cash on hand, and they can buy the infrastructure and then lease it back, and then, you know, continue to make money on that investment for a long time. This is a really clever investment strategy.
I didn't even think of that. I totally didn't even think of that. Maybe I'm stupid. Oh God.
I mean, it's like, why else would Google do it? But then it's like, they do have vast amounts of cash, and what else are you going to do with cash? I mean, you can't get any interest on cash anymore. It doesn't pay to save. You're going to put it in the market or let Goldman Sachs or HSBC deal with it? It's like, it's probably not a good idea, because if anybody's going to get paid, they're going to get paid first. And then if they get paid enough, you might get paid. Whereas with this, they're doing it themselves. They're making money. It's pretty cool.
Yep. All right, now let's take a little time out to watch President Obama hang out with ASIMO, the Japanese humanoid robot, here in this video. There it is.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Mr. President.
The president. People made a big deal out of these. You know, the headlines here were all like, President Obama bows to a robot. The robot bowed to him. It is proper in their culture to bow. So he bowed to the robot. It's a humanoid robot that bowed. I don't really have a problem with him bowing to a robot. I don't know, but it's like headlines everywhere that Obama bowed to a Japanese robot. I don't know why. Why is that the headline and not something else? Here he is actually playing around with the robot. ASIMO's pretty cool. He moves fast. It moves fast. It's not a he. It has no anatomy.
Stop being anthropomorphic. Oh, wait, now I've done it.
Oh God, no. It's a hermaphrodite? Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
No,
It
well,
self-replicates.
This is like the 70th generation of ASIMO, so the old ones were like, they had ones in the 80s that were impressive, and now it's just downright scary.
Yeah, this thing's pretty wild. Anyway, you guys can go watch that if you want to. It's they've come a long way. ASIMO's
You have to hand it to the engineers, though. This is about as non-threatening as you can get for a humanoid robot. I mean, in America, you've seen the military humanoid robots. It's totally the Terminator.
and they enjoy branding it that way. They're like, yeah, this thing. They enjoy like putting an American flag on its chest and then giving it like really angry eyes and like a mouth like this, and it's like. And they're like, yeah, it's our new companion robot.
Our new Terminator bot can bench press an M1 Abrams tank. What can yours do? It's like,
And Japan's like, well, ASIMO can kick a soccer ball to the president.
Yeah.
Like, all right. Sure thing, man. All right, let's get a little bit of Deus Ex on you guys. A Michigan man. He's one of the first in the U.S. to get a bionic eye. And this is in... quotes. The ABC News here, I think they should have clarified a little better. It's not necessarily a bionic eye because he doesn't actually have a fully transplanted eye. What he has is a pair of glasses that sends some information to the few remaining, I guess, receptors. It's somewhat bionic, but he still happens to have a few receptors in his pupil or whatever that are firing or doing something. I'm totally botching this, but he's still getting information sent to his natural eye. It's not a truly bionic eye, but he is able to see for the first time in forever. And he's like, holy crap, I can see. So technology has enabled that. The next step is to figure out how all this connects and then truly create bionic eyes. I'll be in line to get some of those. My vision is horrible.
Well, it's going to be a while because right now it's just, 5 or 10 pixels of information and flashes of light. But that's enough to improve quality of life for this guy.
Yeah, he's able to tell if someone's looking at him. He's able to tell, he's able to see who's around him and see different colors and that sort of thing. So he said that it's been pretty crazy. He's been able to see for the first time in a long time. It's basic, but he can still tell what's going on. All right, let's talk about games. Watch Dogs. I know a lot of you guys out there are waiting for Watch Dogs. PC Gamer put up a couple videos just showing off some of the gameplay. One video, the guy who looked at the video or played the game, Tyler, I believe it was, he did not seem to be very impressed with it at all. And I'll also want to say right now I don't really value the opinions of the staff of PC Gamer anywhere near as much as I used to back in the days of like Gary Whitta. And then when the V took over, I still read PC Gamer religiously. And over the last few years since Logan Decker left, I haven't really been following it all that much. So I'll say that just as a preface to some of this. But I don't necessarily agree with them, and I haven't played the game myself. But he seemed to be completely negative about it. He was making fun of, the
Watch Dogs.
The way the guy. Why is there no video? Yeah, so the guy who played the game spent most of the time making fun of the guy wearing a trench coat. He's like, he's a little bit too old to wear a trench coat and stuff. But if you guys are interested and you're willing to ignore his commentary, you go over there and take a look at it. It'll give you some ideas. You may glean something from his commentary, but I'm not sure what. And we have another video here showing off the multiplayer, and that's the one I was most interested in myself because they're doing something different with the multiplayer in this game. You can hack into someone else's game while they're playing it. Like someone's playing like the single player version, someone else can hack into your game, and then at that point you have to either track them down or it's just quite different. And they try to disguise themselves and blend in. I don't know. You looking forward to this one?
I really, I'm trying to figure out if they're gonna. What the DRM situation is, because it's Ubisoft, and I don't trust Ubisoft as far as I can throw them.
I trust them more than I trust EA or Activision, but I'm with you. I don't trust them that well.
Is it going to be Uplay? Because if it's on Steam and it's the standard issue Steam stuff and it's unobtrusive, I'm on board.
I didn't have much problem with Uplay. Ubisoft. I didn't really have that much problem with it. I just didn't want to have to download another thing. But they've got their right to do their own platform. I just wish they would make it available on all platforms. That seems to be. But, there's a problem right now in gaming. I'll go ahead and put this back on the screen so you guys can watch it while we're talking. The problem I see right now is that, companies, they want to make their own platform because they make more money that way. But, if they made it and they put it on Uplay and they put it on Steam at the same time, would anybody actually buy it on Uplay? I don't think so. Nope. I think the only way for them to get people to buy it on Uplay is to make it like an exclusive for at least a period of time or something. So
Gabe
they did that.
has-
They did that with Far Cry 3 and all that. But
By and large, Gabe has earned my trust, and so far on Steam, I have not had any unpleasant surprises. Like I've gone. I know there are games on Steam that have more DRM than Steam, but when I've gone to buy the game, it's made that clear up front, and I appreciate that. And
like
so,
warning, this requires games for Windows, which is now gone. But
Yes.
some of them will say warning, this requires Uplay or something.
Yes, and so I don't know what's going on with Watch Dogs. I'm keeping an eye out for it. I will definitely get it, assuming it's just Steam.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it looks pretty interesting. I mean, it looks like it's doing a lot more than most games. And some of it does remind me of like a more techie, nerdy version of GTA. But I do get kind of a GTA vibe with it. But it looks a lot better than GTA just from the videos. But I think it's going to follow similar paradigms to games like GTA and Assassin's Creed and that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Did you ever play the old Outcast games way back in the day? They were really crappy looking games. They had tons of dialogue. It was pretty much kind of an open world. Did you ever play those?
Yes.
Well, they're trying to bring it back. They're not trying to like it says pretty much reboot, but what they're really trying to do is remake it in HD. And there's a Kickstarter campaign going on for this right now. They do have some gameplay footage up, but the gameplay footage is kind of misleading because it's like completely 0.001 alpha, and a lot of the character models that are in the new version have been ripped straight out of the old version and have not been redone. So it looks kind of weird. Like some of their, I'll go ahead and play some of this first gameplay footage here so you guys can see it. The world looks a lot better than it used to. That's terrible quality. Come on, it's supposed to be 1080p, but I don't know. It does not look like a next gen game yet. But this is completely, there we go. This is completely alpha. And they've already got it running, and their Kickstarter's not even going. So that shows me that they're dedicated. But some of the original team members are back working on this. This was a very important game back in the day. You guys could go and check out the original, even though it's kind of wonky. You're exploring an alien world. It's interesting. Very open world. The game was so much fun back in the day. It was way ahead of its time, though, I think. Just way ahead of its time. All right, see here what else we have here. I wanted to show you guys this, just for the graphics. I'm not a racing game fan, but these graphics are ridiculous. Project Cars, it's not really going to be an arcade-style racing game. It's going to be more of a simulation. They're going for like uber realism in graphics and uber realism in the physics and handling of the cars. But they are claiming right now that it is the most advanced as far as graphics go. This looks like what they said Forza was going to look like. Remember how good they said Forza was going to look, and then it didn't look like that? I was like, yeah, Xbox or whatever, Forza looks that good when it's running on a Titan. You put it on an actual Xbox, it does not look that good.
Yeah,
Not at
I
all.
remember the screenshots from that. People were side-by-siding like the preview screenshots.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what happened to the crowd? Wait, what happened to the bump mapping?
Like, oh, that was bump mapping done on the Titan. That's what they were running last year.
Microsoft promised
Yeah.
we'd have Titan level, but it didn't come. Oh,
No, didn't happen. So yeah, that game looks interesting. If you're a car, driving game nut, you may want to check that one out. I'm not, but I think Pistol might check it out.
the graphics do look unbelievable.
Yeah. Zynga, they lost half of their daily active users in the last year, posting massive losses, 61 million in the, I believe, the first quarter. That's insane. I think Zynga's kind of on the way out, but I may be wrong. I don't know. I don't really know what fuels Zynga. Is it like a few killer apps like Farmville and whatever other Ville they have? Pizzaville, I don't even know what the hell they've got.
Casual online games. Yahoo was here 2000 to 2004, and now this is sort of taken over Facebook, but no one cares anymore.
I don't know. Yahoo Pool, I remember playing that when I was supposed to be working.
A lot of these have
Yeah.
gone to mobile, and Zynga has tried to catch up with mobile, doing more mobile stuff. But there's just so many app companies now doing mobile games that it's really hard. I mean, mobile apps have taken over the universe.
There it is. You just solved it. More people are using mobile devices to connect to the internet. Facebook mobile users versus desktop users is way up. And people who play games like this are all on mobile. You just made it all so clear to me. I don't even play mobile games, so I didn't even think about it. Saturated market, better games, alternatives. That's why they're losing a lot of money. And I think that's why they're going to have to like downscale their operations. I don't think they're going to have to necessarily go out of business, But I think they just need to downscale their operations and realize the universe no longer revolves around Farmville and all that. Anyway, last thing I want to talk about. Last week we talked about Skywind, and that is the, I guess they took Morrowind and they're redoing it in the Skyrim engine, and they need some help, guys. So if you have a nice microphone and you want to have your voice featured in the game, they're revoicing, or actually they're adding voice to a lot of the different characters in the game, and there are some there's some auditions here, so you can go audition to be a Khajiit. I think you would be very good at being a Khajiit. So you can be a dark elf or an orc or whatever. You just go on there and submit your audition tape if you want to help out. It could be cool getting your voice in the game. I'm not sure which one I'm going to audition for.
If anybody has any suggestions for me, let me know, because I would have no idea.
Let's see, Breton maybe? I don't know.
Howdy, y'all. I'm gonna. No,
that's not the way the Bretons sound. They're very fastidious and all that. Like, good evening to you. I don't even know. I don't know where we're going with all this. A high elf? I don't know. Do you smoke weed? I'm kind of curious. If you're auditioning in the comments and you do post an audition, feel free to post that audition on the website, because I want to hear what you guys are doing for your auditions. It could be a lot of fun. I'll probably have a good laugh, and I think a lot of the other members could have a good laugh too. So post your auditions on the site. Thanks to all the tech support members. You guys are awesome. We are hiring an editor. He's coming up here as quickly as he can. So he'll be here to help us edit. And this is going to be like full-time stuff. He's also, the reason I picked this editor to hire is because he also does video work, and he has video cameras, and he has experience with all that sort of thing. I really didn't want to pick someone who just knew how to edit. I wanted to pick someone who understood audio and video and lighting and could help out with content as well. He's also a gamer, so got an editor coming to town who really understands and will be able to help out with a lot more than just editing. And that's what I was looking for. So I'm happy about that. And we may have some help there, from, like an intern doing some store stuff. So we're growing, and it's all thanks to you guys with the tech support. So thank you guys a lot for making things awesome. We're going to continue to try to make things awesome for you and all that. And there's a lot of really cool things coming up in the next couple of months too. Big giveaways, like some really, really big giveaways, like you're not going to believe. I was kind of weird about giveaways for a while because I feel like they attract, I don't know, sometimes the
it does create people. A handful on the forums, and so thanks, mods, for dealing with that, for the terrible messes we've created.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad. You know, one of my problems with giveaways is whenever we do a giveaway, I love giving back to the community. And at the same time, there's a lot of new people who come just for the giveaways, and they're like, hey, where's the free junk? And they just they piss in the corner, and they turn all the table over, and they jump on the forum, and they post a bunch of really just crappy stuff, just stuff that nobody needs to deal with. And they're like, what do you mean? I didn't win the free stuff? And then they break something and go home. And you're like, oh God, I didn't mean to do this. But I want to get back to you guys. If you've ever used a public restroom,
it's really, you really question humanity. It's like, why? With Ascension, I mean, this looks like a chimp was in here. Why?
That's it. Yes, the people who only show up for the free stuff are the same people that destroy public restrooms. We've discovered who they are. So now what we can do is whenever we do a free giveaway, we can find all the people who sign up and only comment on those giveaway posts and do not contribute in any other way, in any other meaningful way. And then we'll know to send troops to their house to take them out, because they're the ones who are destroying public restrooms so no one can sit down on the toilets in public places. That's what's happened.
Come for the free mice, stay for the atmosphere? Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
It doesn't really seem that much better, honestly.
Damn. Oh, well. We'll continue to do giveaways, and we'll just have to deal with the idiots and get rid of them. They leave soon after, so sorry about the idiots, and enjoy the free stuff. How's that?
Yeah, thanks, mods. It's appreciated.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next episode.